honor and respect our friend Bill Beebe, let me invite you in your own way, take just a moment and give thanks in meditation and thoughtfulness. Amen. James.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please follow me in honor of the Texas flag. Honor
Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
This meeting, as is the custom, is being taped, recorded. First item of business is approval of the minutes of the board meeting held November 28th. Is there a motion? Motion been made by Brenda.
Second.
Second made by James. Any discussion, question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Next item is an opportunity for members of the public to suggest items, thoughts for our board. And I am so grateful that I don't have to require a decorum structure for your presentation. There are some in our community that are struggling with public comments. Thank you for your courtesy. Anyone? Seeing none, hearing none, we move to the Chancellor's report.
Thank you, Reverend Towers. First item is the SAC-CLC annual meeting. 6 of us, a delegation from the college, attended the annual meeting in Florida led by Dr. Garrett. We found it to be very informative, and for the first timers, it was, I think, a little bit overwhelming, but very helpful, especially as we work through our reaffirmation. The majority of the sessions that I attended were CEO sessions, with the first being a one-on-one with Dr. Belle Whelan, and that was extremely helpful as she admonished us to really take our times as we acclimate to these new positions and made herself available. I called her just last week, so she made good on her word. There was significant discussion, as I think we will continue to hear as we attend various conferences, such as we did in Austin this past week, on artificial intelligence, AI, and its use in the classroom or the learning environment, as well as business operations. I don't know that anybody is an expert on it just yet, but the thought is that if you don't embrace it and use it, you may very well get left behind. And so colleges, to include Central Texas College, our college, we are looking at developing policies for our students to ensure proper use of AI in the classroom. So more to come on that. And then during the annual meeting at the end of the conference, we approved several minor changes to SAC-CLC principles. So while we will have to adhere to those during our reaffirmation process and our compliance report, nothing major, nothing of significant impact. So we're doing good there. Service award ceremony. So just a reminder, tomorrow at 9 a.m. here in the campus center, we will host our annual service award ceremony, where we will recognize 53 employees with a combined 910 years of service. So I hope you can attend. We do have a social hour at 8 o'clock with refreshments, so feel free to come early. And at this time, we have Dr. Rady and Ms. Valerie Payson, who will present the pictures of the month.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Chancellor. Please look at the picture on the right. The Central Texas College Police Academy Delta 2023 class graduated this past Friday with 23 students. And this 22-week program began in June. And the sponsored students came from 10 different law enforcement agencies across the state of Texas. And I'm proud to announce that all of the students have passed the TICO licensing exam, which is required for students to become peace officers. Please look at the picture on the left. That's a picture of our nursing pinning graduation. So we had 35 associate's degree in nursing graduates. They were recognized this past Thursday in a pitting ceremony. The new graduates are now reviewing the NCLEX licensure exam for the NCLEX licensure exam, which many of them take in January. And the next cohort of students is starting just a month away, just in January, with 38 students. Picture on the top left is from our commencement. This past Friday, 163 students crossed the stage at the Killeen Civic and Conference Center to graduate with their associate's degree and certificates of completion. This group was part of 814 students who graduated worldwide. The picture on the top left shows the 5 highest honor graduates with Chancellor Carter and the Board of Trustees members. The highest honor graduates achieved a perfect 4.0 GPA. And those students are Gabriela Buendia, Hannah Gessner, Riley Hayjack, Elijah McLaughlin, and Heather Wilson-Ellis. A big thank you to Dr. Bach, who served as the MC, and the many departments that supported this very memorable event.
Thank you, Dr. Eady.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Carter, Chairman Towers, and Board of Trustees. Thank you for the opportunity for me to share some photos of our second annual lighting of the bell tower that took place last Thursday evening at December the 7th. In the top left corner photo is an image of Pat Carney Elementary Principal, Miss Paige Garazewski, her staff and students that assisted with the tree decorating in the tree farm. The image below is our foundation board member, Miss Annie Cooper, and her granddaughter, and our special guest, the Grinch. In the top center is the tree farm ribbon cutting setup for our guest. And right below that is our CTC radio engineer, Mr. Tim Walker, and myself. And the last image is our professor of graphics and printing industry technologies, which is Miss Bobby Waddell, and her staff, her students, Jocelyn Stuck and Miranda Brock, selling The Adventures of Hermes. It's a coloring book that they illustrated and printed for the guest. And we had such a great night. It was a big turnout. We had approximately 600 guests that were in attendance for that evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Payson. That concludes my report.
Mr. Towers, I want to make a comment.
Please.
First of all, the event was so well organized, the lighting of the Christmas tree. It was just I was grateful that I had come. I was there last year and it was cold and, and all that. But this year it was the weather was much more pleasant, but just the activities that you and whomever, all of you thought of was just beautiful. Everything, the lighting, just a pleasant environment to be in. And the topper was our dinner. Even I brought my daughter, who's a young adult, and she was just impressed that it was so well planned. It was just a great, and we allowed Mr. Pierce to sit with us against our better judgment. No, I'm only kidding. He was fun, and it was just a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you for that. And Dr. Bach, I want to compliment you on graduation.
Yes.
You made everyone from the very start of your remarks feel comfortable and that it was a celebration about them. I thought that the previous Master of Ceremony, whatever, had done a great job, but we are blessed that you just stepped in and didn't miss a beat. You were outstanding.
Amen. Thank you. First item of business is consider and approve the annual finance report and report to the Board of Trustees. Mr. Lake.
We have completed your 2023 fiscal year annual audit. I'm going to go a little bit out of sequence compared to prior years. So I'm going to start with the board report. You have staple in front of you. Again, this is a requirement for me, the auditor, and you, the board of trustees, kind of a all-inclusive how the audit went, required question and answers that I'm required to answer to the board. All of them are of a positive nature, but I do want to highlight that, there's some things in here you see and there's some things you don't see. What you do see is nothing is negative. What you do see is any comments you had the previous year related to bank recs and so forth that you do not have this year. It does also highlight that you went through a new GASB pronouncement during this fiscal year where you had to record all of your software subscriptions on the financial statements, both the balance sheet and the income statement. What it doesn't tell you is that me, the auditor, coming into this year, knowing that you had high-level turnover, required me to do different things with your controls and so forth. So I wanted to make mention of that. It doesn't mention that in that letter, but as an auditor, when you have the kind of turnover y'all had right on the tail end of this fiscal year, it requires us to do extra, obviously. But both the chancellor position and the CFO position, I'm so happy that y'all picked the right people for those positions. I can't think of many people that would have transpired into a pretty much a turnkey transition between the 2 years. But just wanted to make mention of that. So you have two major hurdles, the GASB 96 and then the high turnover. But all in all, what this is telling you is you had a good audit, a good, clean, compliant audit. I just wanted to mention that before we dive into the numbers. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, now we'll dive into the numbers. I did include a stapled copy if you don't want to try to decipher where I'm at. This summary or cheat sheet, if you will keep you in the right place. As it relates to our audit opinion on the financial statements as a whole, it is an unmodified or clean opinion. I mean, when you look through this 100-page document, it's in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles. Looking at a real quick variation analysis, if you want to look at the book on page 11, or just look at your first page of your summary. This is your statement of net position for fiscal year 2023. Total assets, right about mid-page, 269.4 million. Indicator number one, it is down 8.9 million over last year. The majority of that is cash and investments. As it related to operations, you lost about 8.9. You spent 4.5 on capital assets. And then your investment income is actually up 3.1 million this year. Total liabilities, they're middle of the page. 96.4 million, indicator number two. That is up 1.9 million over last year. Some of the increases you had, indicator number three is accounts payable at 3.5 is up 1.4 million over last year. Most of that is timing with some ADA and some renovations you had to accrue at year end that you didn't have last year. Then indicator number four, that's GASB 96. That's our new pronouncement, having to record that liability, both the current portion and the long-term portion together, is an increase of 3.2 million in your liabilities. The indicator number five is our lovely pension and OPEB liabilities. Pension is the first one at 7.9 million. It is up 9.6 million. The actuary did decrease the discount rate, which anytime he does that increases your liability. And then on the OPEB liability at 41.9, it's down 12.7 million. And they did the opposite on that. The discount rate actually went up, so the liability went down. Giving us a total net position, bottom of the page, indicator number 6 of 151.5 million. That is up, or that is down 4.3 or 2.8% over last year. As always, we want to try to get this more into a reserve framework. So what I did was I took the pension and OPEB liabilities, deferred outflows and inflows out of the equation. So you see your unrestricted net position above that, indicator number 7 at 13.5 million. Once I got the effects of the pension and OPEB out of that, it grows to 94.5 million. So that is a better indicator of what your reserve is. It also represents 13.6 months worth of operating expenditures. So even though we've had a loss this year, you still have a very strong net position. Any questions on the balance sheet? You're in the book, flip to page 13, otherwise just flip the summary page to the next page. This is your statement of revenues and expenses for this year. Total operating revenues, indicator number 1, 29.2, down 8.1 over last year, a little over 20%. Indicator 2 is predominantly all of that. Your tuition fees is down 8 million over last year. 5.3 million of that is in the distance education section. Then indicator number 3 is your total expenses at 83.1 million. That is also down 8 million or 8.8% over last year. The biggest decrease overall is you don't have as much of the HERF funds as last year. So anytime your HERF funds, your COVID money goes down, your expenses are going down, and HERF is 11 million down from last year. So you hardly have any this year. And then to combat that, you do have a 1.3 increase in salary and benefits. Indicator number 5 is your net non-operating revenues and expenses at 49.6 million, is down 6 million over last year at 10.9%. We just referenced the main one. Indicator number 6, that is your federal revenue. That is where the COVID money was recorded last year. It's down 11 million. And then your Pell Grants are up about 600,000 over there to combat that. And then indicator number 7, the only significant increase is your investment income. The interest rates are better this year, and you actually made some money on your investments this year. Which gives us to indicator number 8, that is your net decrease or 2.8% decrease in that position. Any questions on revenues and expenses? The other side of the audit is obviously the federal and state single audit side. In your book, it's on page 61. Otherwise, just flip the page on the summary sheets. Anytime you get over 750,000 of either federal or state aid, you have to go through a separate audit for those programs. Items 1, 2, and 3 deal with the internal controls as it relates to these financial statements. It is an unmodified or clean opinion with no material weaknesses. 4, 5, and 6 deal with the internal controls as it relates to the federal and state awards required to be tested this year. It is also unmodified or clean opinion with no material weaknesses. Item number 7 identifies your major programs for this year. The only thing I'll note for y'all, obviously financial aid is always going to be a major program, but we don't see the HERF funds there this year because they fell below the 750. And then item number 10 and 11, you do qualify as a low-risk auditee for both state and federal single audit, which goes in the data collection form, and it's the first place a grantor looks for prospective grantee. Any questions on compliance?
No.
Now I present this for your approval.
Anybody else? Questions, comments? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Legg. Requires a motion to approve the final report.
Motion to approve the audit is committed.
Second.
I had 2 at the same time. That's fine. Mr. Weaver and Mr. Pierce. Any questions, comments? All in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for that. Next item does not require board action, but for a report and update on the Cessna. Mr. Reynolds.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Carter and Chairman Towers and the rest of the board. I'm Jim Reynolds. I'm the Chief Flight Instructor for the Aviation Science Department. And today's information is going to deal with the progress on the Cessna 310, trying to get it back into a flyable condition. If you can put the next slide up, please. These are items that have been completed over time in here with aircraft. Both engines, not just one, have been overhauled, reinstalled, and done ground checks on them. Glide slope indicator repair and installs, that's just a nav aid that we utilize, the actual indicator in the aircraft for instrument flying and for navigation. The radio display repair also ties in with that in the instrument panel itself. Brakes and landing gear, just things over time that is kind of normal wear and tear on an aircraft of that nature. And those, again, have been repaired and tested to make sure the brakes and things like that work. The new automatic dependent surveillance, give you an idea how long the aircraft's been gone. This is a requirement from the FAA that came out for a special reporting type of mechanism you had to have in all airplanes now. And so we've now installed the new one in that one to meet the federal requirement. Seat tracks and seat belts, when I got in there and was trying to move them, they wouldn't work right and kind of slipped off the rack. So I've had them fixed up. That's done. De-ice boots are actually would look like rubber tires on the leading edge of the wings and the horizontal stabilizer that actually inflate with air pressure to de-ice the aircraft and take off any ice we might get on the wings itself. Okay, next slide. Here's a picture of it in the hangar right now, getting there, not 100% there at this point in time. Next slide. Some of the final things we're doing is the mechanics done most of the final inspection because you had to do a new annual on it since it's been so long since it flew, and all FAA certified aircraft required to have an annual inspection, which is kind of a comprehensive maintenance inspection every year. Fuel tank sealing, did it. I went out and checked it this morning. We got to do some more sealing on it. That's not complete yet. It was completed, but I went out and looked at it and got the mechanic. We're out to get some more sealant and work on that. What I follow up with once we get that working, I'll do kind of my own engine run. I'm going to check the fuel tanks again before I put any more fuel in them. And I do that by there's 4 fuel tanks. I put a little gas in there. We tow it around, slosh around, and clean it out. Aircraft's been sitting there since August of 2018. So you can get accumulation stuff in the fuel tank. So I said, I'm not flying it until we take care of that. From there, then I'll do a little bit of taxiing, do some engine run-ups, and then I've got to go up on partial test flight because new engines, you have to do a break-in on them. So I'll climb up to a few thousand feet and I'll sit there and cut donuts for about 2 hours at a specific power settings, and then come back in, land it, and then I'll be ready to really start doing stuff, checking gear, flaps, stalling it, single engine operation, feathering propellers and things of that nature. Anyway, that's a real quick down and dirty on what's coming up and where we stand right now in the 3010. Any questions from anyone?
All those things happening as you suggested in a timely way, when will students be in the plane?
I'm hoping if I can get it done in a timely way and get this thing doing, I'll be able to start working with students late February into March, somewhere like that. The actual rating they'll be seeking is a multi-engine airplane land rating. And the course itself is only about 10 hours instruction, about 5 to 6 hours of ground school. So it's one they can move through pretty rapidly. If you're going to advance career-wise in aviation, particularly at the commercial level, you're not going anywhere without a multi-engine airplane rating. That's just reality of life there.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Next item is from Dr. Carter concerning board document number 367.
This is actually a follow-up to last month's meeting where you approved the revisions to board document 104, which included the deletion of the travel policy statement. And so as a result, we are recommending that board document 367 be rescinded, and we will convert that to a regular administrative policy.
Is there a motion to accept that recommendation?
So
Ms. Coley, second? Any discussion, question about that motion? If you favor that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Next item is recommend any topics from upcoming agenda items by members of the board. Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thanks.
No, sir.
I'd just like to say our prayers go out to Bill Beebe and his family. And just Merry Christmas to the staff and everyone. Continue. You guys are doing a wonderful job. No matter where we go, down to Austin, it was great. Dr. Carter did a great job representing the CTC, and it was just a great time. Also had some great people there. It was just a great time, and look forward to the future. And I'm telling you, the governor is definitely invested in education. So we look forward to some great things coming down the pipe. I'm excited. Thank you.
The caveat on what he was saying also, we forgot about Dr. Grady. Thank you for
Yes, sir.
for everything you've given us. Okay, you're outstanding. Enjoy your retirement.
She's smiling about her last board meeting to attend. Two items related to Mr. Beebe. The funeral will be on Friday, the 22nd, a week from tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Lifeway Fellowship. There'll be a visitation an hour before at 10 a.m. and interment will be at the Veterans Cemetery at 1 in the afternoon. As to Mr. Beebe's role in service, in January, we will begin looking at the policy manual and discussing what our next step is concerning both his place on the board and his position as treasurer. Those things will be handled. People are already asking questions. I don't think we have any answers to give them except just be patient. Anyone else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Don't make that motion before I announce the next meeting in January on the 16th, our workshop, and on the 23rd, our board meeting. Now, with that motion from Mr. Wilkerson,
Motion.
is there a second to adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.